It is Tuesday, October 9th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, may I present to you a cultured, sophisticated man about town and JP Shadrick.
Welcome in, Jaguars Happy Hour on this Tuesday. JP Shadrick and that man he speaks of is Josh Scobee, former kicker. What's up, Josh? How you doing, man?
I can't complain. That was a very nice intro for me. However, it feels like Joe and you have something y'all need to hash out.
No, it's not a rivalry if you dominate all the time. So it's okay. It's one-sided.
Is he?
He would be Auburn in this equation.
I see. I get that.
Plenty to get to today. Lots of breaking news on the program. Here's what's coming up on the show. Jaguars making roster moves this afternoon. We'll review all of those. We'll quickly review the Chiefs' loss. We'll preview the Jags' win over the Cowboys coming up this week. Yes.
Ooh, yeah, I like the optimism. I love it. Yeah.
And we'll go social with you, Scobee. So get ready.
Yeah, it was a good week for me in social media for the most part. A little dull on Sunday, but that's about it.
That was not. You weren't the only one that had that issue on Sunday.
Yeah.
We'll get to that coming up. Let's get to the big news today, though. The Jaguars have signed 11th-year running back Jamal Charles, the former Kansas City Chief for a long time. Last year with the Denver Broncos, he had worked out with a couple of teams this season. He signed with the Jaguars today after a workout, and he caught up with Brian Sexton earlier.
Brian Sexton with new Jaguars running back Jamal Charles, who joins us courtesy of Austin, Texas. You've been out of the league so far this year. What have you been doing to get ready for the opportunity?
Well, I've been training with one of my great friends, a former UT guy, Jeremy Hills, and also been going to Lifetime. Also working at F45. So I've been trying to just do all my conditioning work, just stay in shape, just in case if I got anybody call.
What do you see in this opportunity? Obviously, you stay tuned into the league. The defense is obviously a calling card, and Leonard, when he comes back, be a nice tandem?
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I wanted to come here really because I wanted a potential shot at Super Bowl. That's why I still kept option open because I really want to win a championship. And I was excited to have this opportunity come open, having a defense like this and having a running game and having Boulders at quarterback. I was excited just to allow me to come, give me a chance, and I'm happy that it works out.
Fans remember, I mean, obviously you're number one in all-time yard per carry average. They know what you do as a runner. Yeah. What are these guys asking you to do in the passing game?
Well, I don't know yet, but in my mind, I want to come here and make my own history. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to start a new history. Everybody say he's old right now, but I want to start something new. I want to make a new a look out for Jamal for the Jaguars. I want to do something special for the Jaguars. I hope we can go all the way. That's why I'm here. I'm excited.
So you know the question that's coming, and that is everyone's wondering, he's 31. What's he got left in the tank? You tell the fans who are watching this, what does Jamal Charles have left in his tank?
I have a lot, man. I got to prove a lot. I mean, opportunities come like this. It don't come like this all the time. I'm excited. I'm here for a reason. I feel like it's guard playing at the end of the day. I feel like he wanted me. He made me wait this long. And I mean, everything in my mind could have happened. I could have retired. I could have did other things, but God kept this option open for me. So I don't know. It's guard playing.
The choice is ultimately the coaches, but you ready to go this week in Dallas? I know you were there last week for the Oklahoma-Texas game.
Yeah, I was there last week, Oklahoma game. Hook 'em horns, baby. Good job. I'm excited to go back to Dallas. Whatever the team want me to do, I'm up for the challenge. I'm excited. I'm ready to get my foot ready and get to click these dust off these cleats.
There's Jamal Charles, 11th season coming up when he suits up this week. The time with Kansas City, of course, over 10,000 scrimmage yards in his career. And he is third on the NFL career rushing average list of 750 or more attempts. Only Michael Vick and Randall Cunningham have a better number in NFL history. He's the top running back in that category. What do you think he brings to this equation here, Josh?
Well, obviously he brings a lot of experience, being this would be his 11th year in the NFL. Obviously his yard per carry average number one in the history of the NFL for running backs. So he also brings a lot to the table in terms of his versatility. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's obviously very shifty type of running back, not a big running back, but someone that's had a lot of experience carrying the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield, and being productive.
And a guy that, depending on the situation with Leonard Fournette, can spell you for a little bit of time here and fill in some time in this running back room.
Yeah, he's someone that I'm glad that they signed. obviously in free agency during the season, you're not going to have your top tier guys out there because those guys are going to be with teams. But a Jamal Charles name, number one, sounds like a really good signing. And listening to him speak actually makes me feel better because he still feels like he's got something to prove and he's got a lot of juice in the tank.
Seems like an old pro that's been at it for a long time. That's exactly what he is, and he's ready to come to this football team and help this group. And not the only transaction today for the Jacksonville Jaguars, by the way. The Jags, of course, signed Jamal Charles. They also signed rookie running back Dave Williams off the Denver practice squad, promoted David Greenidge, the tight end, from the practice squad here, and then signed another tight end to the practice squad, an unsigned rookie. To make those moves, they put Corey Grant on the IR. He's done for the year. Austin Seferian-Jenkins also on that list, but he could come back right around mid-December at the earliest, starting today. That's the rules if he comes back. And then Brandon Wiles, the running back, released today. So all the transactions are in just a little bit ago for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Busy Tuesday.
Yeah, unfortunately a busy Tuesday. You don't like to see that.
You don't want to see that too much.
No.
But, I mean, this is a banged-up football team right now, and they had to make some moves. They finally, I think, were just trying to hold off. Let's hold off for a little bit. After this past week, you just had to make some moves and get something done, especially in the running back room. And now at the tight end spot with Austin Seferian-Jenkins being down for a little while as well, you had to make some moves. You did that internally, though, which helps.
Yeah, it's always nice to sign your own guys, even if they're coming off a practice squad. It's nice to give those type of guys the opportunity because they've only been practicing for the first 4 weeks. So now to give him the opportunity to come up and possibly play and contribute to the team, it'll be nice to see.
Jaguars running game last week, TJ Yeldon played 77 of the 83 snaps in the game. That's another reason for this. Brandon Wiles got cut today. TJ Yeldon was the only real true option last week. He's been battling through some ankle issues the last couple of weeks, and you see what he's done for the season so far. A guy that Doug Marrone is confident in, and could be a starter a lot of places in the league, but with Leonard Fournette around here, he has not been the true starter. But when the last few weeks, he stepped in and he's played well for this team.
He has. He's given the team an opportunity to play well, running the ball, and put them in positions where they're creating first downs, getting second and short, third and short, that type of thing. And now he's going to have to step up even more. And even though the team signed Jamal Charles, TJ is going to be the starting running back this coming week. So he's got to know that he's got to be ready to be the number one guy and to do something that he probably hasn't had the mindset to do that much in his career. And hopefully he's looking forward to it.
Guys scoring touchdowns, the guys all over the field in the run and in the pass, and you throw Jamal Charles in there now, and we'll see what happens with the run game this week. And a lot of it depends on the health of the offensive line as well. What's going to happen with Wells, the left tackle? Is he going to be available coming off the groin issue that brought him out of the ball game, or will Josh Walker play that spot? Jeremy Parnell struggled at the right side in last week's game, and pretty much everybody in the front on the offensive line and the interior is on the injury report this week as well. I mean, you got Andrew Norwell with a foot issue. You got Linder with the back issue going into last week. A.J. Cann's got the triceps. I mean, it's week 6. Offensive linemen get banged up. That's what happens.
Yeah, this might be a good week for a bye week, to tell you the truth. But unfortunately, that's not the way it is right now. And the O-line struggled this past week. It felt like every passing situation there was pressure on Blake. And Blake needs time to develop. He needs the play to develop for him to go through his reads. And it just didn't seem like that was happening in the game. So hopefully somehow the training staff can get these guys feeling a little bit healthier this week and obviously play a little bit better, because the tackles in particular struggled. They had a tough week. And that was the strength of Kansas City's defense, was their edge rushers, and it actually showed, and I think that was a big difference in the game.
Doesn't get much easier this week, too, with the Dallas edge rushers. They can bring some heat, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the Jags threw the ball 61 times last week.
That's not what you want.
No. Yeah. Career highs in attempts, completions, yardage, and interceptions for Blake Bortles in the game. Not quite the career high game you're hoping for.
Not necessarily what you want for Blake. This team is not built for it to throw the ball 61 times and actually have right around 70 dropbacks is what he had, because he ran the ball quite a few times too. So that's just how the game turned out, with the Chiefs scoring on their opening possession, going down early, getting down 10-0, 13-0, then eventually 20-0. They were forced to throw the ball, and that's just not what you want from this offense, and that's why they struggled. And any time you're forcing Blake to make plays and to really do the main job of the offense, especially in those conditions too, and that's the one thing that's kind of overlooked, is it was rainy, the ball gets slick, it's hard to control it, and Blake doesn't throw the tightest spiral anyway. So all that compounded into that type of day that he had and the offense had.
The back and forth in his rating as this season has gone on is just so inconsistent, and week over week the rating has changed a bit. You see it on your screen now. Week 1 in New York in the 60s, the great game against the Patriots. Everybody struggled against Tennessee, and then the great game against the Jets, and of course last week. It's up and down and up and down. But, you know, they've got 3 wins out of those 5 games, and it's not like it always seems like he bounces back from a tough one. You know, this goes back to even last season. When he has a tough outing, he'll come back and rebound. And
that's kind of the good and bad with Blake. You get the Jekyll and Hyde. You get the good Blake, you get the bad Blake. And he does seem to bounce back. And, you know, if I actually played fantasy football and put money on games, I would be putting my money on this game against the Cowboys because of this trend. But we really don't want that out of Blake. We need some more consistency. We need him to trust his receivers more, make the right reads, make the right throws, do the right things to put this team in position to score, and not just field goals, but touchdowns. And I'm sure Blake is not happy today. Tuesday is the day off. He's probably close to us right now watching film, trying to get this thing right. And he bounces back pretty fast typically, and this is a good week to be able to do it.
You're saying he's not watching this program on Jaguars social media?
If he is, he's probably texted me by now, not happy with me. So I'm hoping and willing to say that he is in there watching film on Dallas right now.
That's the next one on the schedule. The Dallas Cowboys coming up this Sunday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. We'll come back. We'll get into the Cowboys a little bit. A little later, John Oehser joins us, Jaguars.com senior writer, for a little more on the Jamal Charles signing and all the happenings today around TIAA Bank Field. The tickets to Jags games are now mobile in 2018 when the Jags are back home in a couple of weeks against the Texans. Get the official Jags app, view, claim, and send your tickets to friends or family before you arrive. Most importantly, arrive early to TIAA Bank Field. Get game ready for Jaguars football. Visit jaguars.com/gameday. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. I've been doing this for 20 years, but success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Thank you for helping me move this thing along. You helped me get this thing going in the early days by telling 20 of your closest friends about Tito's. They told 20 more, and it kept growing from there. We wouldn't be where we are today without your support. Thank you very much. Go to Tito'sVodka.com and pick up some Tito's gear. All proceeds benefit our charity partners. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Jags fans, experience TIAA Bank Field like never before. Visit Jaguars.com/tours and book a guided behind-the-scenes tour presented by Fuel Up to Play 60. Hear stories of great plays by Jaguars legends. Get up close and personal with the famous video boards. And see why the Travel Channel named TIAA Bank Field as one of the 15 bucket list destinations for any football fan. Discounts available for children, first responders, and military. Visit Jaguars.com/tours for tickets and details. See you at the bank.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Es el 4 para 3, de nuevo Blake Bortles, ahora va a correr haciendo el primer down, Sigue avanzando. 2, 3, 4. Y touchdown en la pierna de Blake Bortles, señores.
Todos somos Duval.
Javier Carrero on the call, the Spanish call of the Blake Bortles touchdown run in Kansas City, and Jaguars Happy Hour continues. JP Shadrick, Josh Scobee.
Sounds so much better in Spanish, by the way. Sounds more exciting and actually sounds like they won the game.
I know. You wouldn't realize what the score was at that point.
You wouldn't have a clue. Yeah. I heard a quattro in there, so I guess
he was at the 4-yard line, I think.
So they go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. That's what I gathered.
Instead of 15, 10, 5 touchdown.
It's been a while since 6th grade Spanish for me. Sorry.
I was in homeschool in 6th grade.
Did you learn Spanish?
I did not. I barely learned English, to tell you the truth. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate it.
Work in progress.
She's probably watching right now, so sorry, Mom.
Still. Let's get to this game coming up. The Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars have met 6 times in history. And it's 3-3 each way. The last meeting was in London in that game where the Cowboys kind of pulled away. 31-14 or 31-17 was the final score at Wembley.
I had a field goal that game. That's good.
Did you?
Yeah. The fans,
remember how long it was?
I want to say it was in the mid-30s. That'd be my guess, somewhere like 36, 37.
We can look this up as we move along here. So they haven't met a lot, obviously. Every handful of years you'll get the Cowboys, the rotation through, and that's about it. One of the premier storied franchises in the league, and you don't get to see a lot of them, so a special one this week.
Yeah, it'll be a fun week, and Cowboys fans travel very well. They're going to have a big showing even from their London fans. Fans that even don't even know who they're rooting for or why they're rooting for them. They're going to have a lot of those Cowboy jerseys over there. So it's going to be a good matchup. And the Cowboys offense right now is struggling a bit. Dak Prescott's struggling. And I think that's a good time for our defense to kind of tee off on them and get some turnovers and get some sacks and get this thing righted.
Dak Prescott, 3rd season. He is not having a huge year. They don't throw the ball a whole lot. They don't have a lot of playmakers on the outside there. They run the ball. Ezekiel Elliott leads the league in rushing yardage so far through 5 weeks, and a guy who, when he's available to them, is fantastic in the running game.
Yeah, he's a heck of a running back, and it's kind of surprising that he's leading the league in rushing even though they have a losing record. It's
amazing, right?
Very surprising. But, he's the type of guy that at any point he can break off a 30, 40-yard run. So this is something that they're going to have to target this week. The Jaguars' defense is. So it's a challenge for them. And even though the Cowboys are not playing that great, it's going to be a tough game.
It's a different feel offense, obviously, than Kansas City last week. Those guys are speed and all over the field and playmakers down the field and tight end and a running back. And that was a different animal a week ago.
Yeah, watching that game as a spectator on TV, it just seemed like the Jaguars' defense was off balance the entire game. It was a completely different call, a completely different formation every single play. Andy Reid did a phenomenal job of playing or calling that game. And the execution was almost as good. And it was tough to stop them, and there's a reason they're 5-0.
I got some bad news for you, Josh.
Uh-oh.
I looked up the box score from the 2014 Cowboys-Jaguars game. Well, you didn't have a field goal in the game.
Wait a minute. It was 17. You said it was 31-17.
Yeah, but it was a Denard Robinson 32-yard touchdown run, shoelace. Okay. You had an extra point.
All right.
That made it 7-3 Jaguars. Then Dallas reeled off a bunch of points in a row to make it 31-7. There was a safety in the end, like a holding call.
See, I had that one. That's where I was wrong. I had the safety.
It was then Denard Robinson 1-yard run and a 2-point conversion.
Oh crap!
So you didn't have a field goal. You had an extra point, so you contributed 1 point.
I tell you what, it was the year before that it was against the 49ers that I had the field goal. So
2013.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah. You try to forget the losses. I try to remember the made kicks that I have. So apparently that one slipped by me a little bit.
Have you played in Dallas? You remember playing in Dallas?
One time, 2010 is the only time.
New stadium?
At the new stadium. Yeah. Played at the old stadium. That makes me old. But yeah, the new stadium is pretty amazing. It's kind of like going to a club in Vegas. instead of playing a football game because they have dancers up in the corners, and it's very strange.
What was the last club you went to in Vegas, by the way?
I have no idea.
Side story. Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about that off air.
Okay, we can do that. I had a question. This might be a dumb question, but I mean,
probably
consider the
will
source.
be. Yeah.
So, in a big environment, big stadium like that, is depth an issue? Like line of sight, that kind of thing? Or does that matter? Like basketball, right? Big arena. Sometimes guys have trouble shooting. Is that a big deal for kickers or no?
Not necessarily. No. If you can get your bearings right, when it's pregame and you're looking at how big the stadium is, there's certain stadiums that are very big indoors like that, including Texas Stadium. Or Dallas Cowboy Stadium, whatever it's called now, AT&T Stadium.
Yes. Texas Stadium was
Jerry
the last
World,
one.
I guess. But once the fans get in there, it all looks the same, to tell you the truth. So, no, it's never that big of a deal, and I'm sure it's the same with quarterbacks and receivers as well. How
big is this one compared to the old one, just running out?
Much bigger. I mean, humongous. Just the way the layout is. I mean, it's a really big stadium. I think it holds 90,000, which is absurd in NFL standards. The old one was a lot smaller than that. And, I mean, it's a fun place to play. It just feels like you're kind of playing in a club, basically. It's just different because you're constantly looking up at the giant jumbotrons. You get a little dizzy looking at them, and it's just a different feeling. And it'll be fun for the team to go there. I'll be at the game probably.
You're going.
I'll be there. I'll be in the upper deck, probably just staring at the giant jumbotrons.
I thought you'd be in like a suite somewhere. I mean, you're Josh Scobee, for goodness sakes.
Well, I'll see if I can call Jerry Jones and see what he can do, but he probably won't answer.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Were you a Cowboy fan? You grew up in Texas?
I grew up about 2 hours from Arlington, where Texas Stadium, AT&T Stadium is. So I really didn't grow up a Cowboys fan. My grandmother was a huge Cowboys fan, but I always liked to root for the other teams just to kind of, give it to her a little bit. Because, every Thanksgiving they played that day against typically Detroit or someone else, and I like to root against them just because.
Good call. I actually was a Cowboys fan when I was a kid, too. Went to training camp in the first year, Switzer's first year as the head coach. We went to St. Edwards in Austin for a week, me and my grandmother.
That's pretty cool.
And then went to a preseason game at the end of the week in Dallas at Irving, Texas Stadium, the old place.
That's right.
Good stuff.
I played there in high school and a
preseason
yeah,
that's right.
Game.
The playoff games and stuff are there,
Yeah,
right?
We used to have our playoff games there in high school, and we actually played a regular season game there my senior year of high school.
How about that?
Yeah, that was 99. Yeah.
That's a long time ago. We're getting old.
Long time. We're getting very old.
We're getting, we're getting really old. Let's get to the specialist watch this week. The Dallas Cowboys specialists in this game. Each and every week on this Tuesday program, we take a look at who these guys are. Brett Maher is a first-year kicker from Nebraska. He's been pretty good this year, 11-12, 6-6 on extra points. The Cowboys haven't scored many touchdowns this year, by the way. Only 7 on the year.
How many have the Jags scored? Not many more than that. Yeah.
11.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Couple one on defense.
Yeah. So what was surprising to me early in the year is when Dan Bailey, the former Cowboys kicker, was released, and they decided to go with John Mayer's brother, Brett, apparently. And I didn't think it was a good idea, and most people probably thought it was dumb. And he's proving them wrong right now. He's made 11 of 12 field goals and all extra points, and so that's surprising to pretty much everyone. And their punter's been there for quite a while now, and his numbers aren't that great. He's had 6 inside the 20. His net average is kind of down, so that might be something the Jaguars can exploit.
The long snapper's been there forever.
He's been there a long time. He's one of the biggest long snappers you'll ever see. I don't think the Jags will have to account for that because we have Tinker, and he's one of the smallest, so no one really ever accounts for the long snapper. And his last name's LaDoucher, so you really don't have to account for anyone whose last name is that.
The only place that accounts for the long snapper is this program. We do it each and every
week.
Correct.
We're probably the only people that have talked about the long snapper maybe this year. I mean, I haven't seen any long snapping tragedies this year, so yeah.
Nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
Nowhere else. Hey, so by the way, we had in the league this week, we had a 63-yard field goal. Graham Gano hit a 63-yarder for the Carolina Panthers this week. And, of course, the record in the league is 64 yards, Matt Prater, back in 2013. And then a handful of guys have gone for 63 yards. Tom Dempsey had the record forever in 1970. And then Jason Elam did it against the Jags in 98. Janikowski did it. David Akers did it in Green Bay. So the most notable thing here is that 3 of them are in Denver at elevation. I don't know if that's a big deal to you.
Yes, it is.
Tom Dempsey was below sea level in New Orleans.
Technically, yes.
And then in Green Bay, of all places. And then, of course, this Sunday, Graham Gano, a game winner in Charlotte from 63. Did you watch that one? Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I was driving home at the time, and my wife told me what had happened. And Graham is a buddy of mine. We've had that same agent for the longest time, and I've known him since college and obviously keep up with him. But that kick, I mean, it was from 63. Number one, that's a long way. It's to win the game. They were down at the time.
Yeah.
If they're tied, it's a different story. You don't feel as much pressure. But it had 4 or 5 yards to spare on it. I mean, it was impressive. It was probably the most impressive long field goal I've seen in probably since 13, since Prater's 64-yarder, which was maybe 22 degrees at the time, which makes it a lot harder to kick, even though they're in elevation in Denver.
And then I think the Akers one against Green Bay hit the crossbar and then jumped in.
Yeah,
at halftime.
Yeah, people look at that and are impressed that it was in Green Bay.
Yeah,
I mean, amazing kick. It was the first game of the year, so it was a little bit warmer. Yeah. Still an amazing kick. And anyone that makes a 60-plus yard field goal, you've done something really, really special.
Yours is, of course, your long was 59.
Yeah, I tried to get a penalty, like, you know,
like
get it back to 64, but I'll take it.
Do you think you could ever made one, though?
Absolutely.
Did you have the leg for that?
Oh, I absolutely did.
Just never the opportunity.
I had one opportunity from 63, and it was the opening game in 09 at the Colts to end the first half. And they had the window open there. They had the roof open, and it was basically into the wind indoors, if that's possible. And I hit it just wide right.
All right, one other specialist note this week. The Jacksonville Jaguars had the second successful onside kick this week. Rosas for the Giants had one week 2 in Dallas against the Cowboys. They tried to come back, couldn't do it. The Jags got one this week late against the Chiefs. And you want to explain how this one worked out?
Yeah, this is a Joe DeCamillis, special teams coach. This is special. I mean, he's had this one in his game plan for a long time. We call it the middle bunt, and essentially the kicker basically bunts it as close to 10 yards as possible. You obviously want to get it past 10 yards, and Josh Lambo executed it perfectly. And he was the one that's supposed to catch that ball or try to recover it, and the 2 guys on opposite sides of him are clearing out the path for him to try and recover it. And it worked great. It bounced off of Cody Davis, and he recovered it. And it gave the Jags another opportunity. And obviously, you know, didn't work out for the win, but still fun to see those happen, because then that keeps the kick return team on their toes, kind of knowing that could happen at any point.
And with the rules now, that's about the only way you can recover an onside kick, right? You can't
like
run up to the kick anymore.
Yeah, you can't get any big momentum running up to the kick. So that one that they executed and it worked out was even more difficult, because the Chiefs probably expected something like that to happen, and they still made it happen. So, onside kicks are maybe a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 for recovering. And
that was before the new rule.
Before the new rule.
Yeah.
So well done to Lambo, and well done to the kickoff team.
You remember how many successful ones you had off the top of your head?
Maybe 2. I probably had 7 or 8 that we attempted, and I think we only had 2. And some of them I hit poorly. One was returned for a touchdown.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and one I hit out of bounds. So, onside kicks were not my favorite thing to practice. And it's not a fun thing to do. you know,
that means you're down in the game.
You're never hoping to be down in the game to have to do that. But that's normally like a Friday practice thing that you work on before practice, and then you get on to the things that actually matter, like, you know, field goals and kickoffs. So
we'll come back. John Oehser waiting in the wings, Jaguars.com senior writer. He'll have more on the Jamal Charles signing for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we'll get some social Scobee coming up a little bit later. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Only in Jacksonville can you tour a state-of-the-art hospitality show home before a game. Hi, this is Lauren Brooks. Make it a point to visit the Dreamfinders Home's newest stadium home before any home Jaguars game. Take a free tour and register for a chance to win amazing grand prizes. Dreamfinders Homes will select one winner per home game. Only at Dreamfinders Homes Stadium Home 2.0 by Gate 4 at TIAA Bank Field. Dreamfinders Homes, homes built to fit your lifestyle.
Jags fans, experience TIAA Bank Field like never before. Visit Jaguars.com/tours and book a guided behind-the-scenes tour presented by Fuel Up to Play 60. Hear stories of great plays by Jaguars legends. Get up close and personal with the famous video boards. And see why the Travel Channel named TIAA Bank Field as one of the 15 bucket list destinations for any football fan. Discounts available for children, first responders, and military. Visit Jaguars.com/tours for tickets and details. See you at the bank.
Jaguars Happy Hour continues. JP Shadrick, Josh Scobee, and now John Oehser, senior writer, Jaguars.com.
I'm here. No little funny shirt for you?
Yeah, what happened here, Josh?
I figured we need to give it a week off of, you know, the boasting and the bragging and whatnot, and maybe that'll kind of filter down to the locker room. So, you know.
Here we go.
Okay, wow.
That was
Shots
just
fired. I'll just lean over here.
Actually, it was laundry day, so this is all I had to wear.
Big news today, Johnny. Signing Jamal Charles is now a Jaguar.
Yeah, and obviously he has the resume. What you worry about is a running back with a long resume means he's had a long career, a lot of injuries. Usually signing a running back in his 10th year, not going to be high impact. He's not going back to the Pro Bowl. But if you can get a few games out of him, if you can get consistency out of him, you get somebody else you can hand the ball to who you can trust to function within the offense. And if you get a few games out of him, that's fantastic. And if you get the season out of him and he can run, I think he had, 269-ish yards last year and, on 70 carries in Denver. They just need somebody so that you don't have to always be handing the ball to TJ Yeldon right now. You want to give him a break at times so you can still have him in the rest of the offense.
Yeah, not a long term, not thinking years ahead here. This is to get you through the next couple of months, especially,
Yeah, you would hope, I'm not trying to diminish Charles's chances of contributing, but an 11th year running back, you don't expect him to come in and be what he used to be. If they thought that, he'd already be on the team.
And you also hope that Leonard Fournette is back and healthy in a few weeks or whenever he's back.
You now, at least going into this week, you have T.J. Yeldon, you have Dave Williams, who they signed off the Broncos practice squad, and Jamal Charles. Last week when Corey Grant went out of the game, you basically had one guy that you trusted to hand the ball to and to function in the passing offense. You hope this week that you have three, because one last week I thought really was a big reason, Josh, why they ran so much and why they went so pass-heavy in the second half. I just feel like they didn't feel like you could risk either wearing TJ down for his pass blocking or risk getting him hurt. And you start calling the game differently in that situation.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. This team is not built to throw the ball 60 times, to drop back 70 times in a game. And unfortunately, that's what happened. They had some injuries, and they were forced to run that game plan, and it didn't work. And
they're 0-1 doing that. They'd be 0 for whatever doing that.
Correct.
But most teams are. I mean,
yes.
No coordinator goes in saying, I want to run. I mean, I want to throw 70 times.
Yeah, that's true. And with the signing of Jamal Charles, it's great. His potential, for what we see in the past, it's there. But if this team is relying on that type of signing, going, wow, we could really use him, the last 11 games of the season, and he's going to be a big contributor, then the offense is not where they want to be running the ball.
Yeah.
Well, they're in, I've been saying for the last couple of days, this is a crisis mode. And that doesn't mean that you can't get through this and get to the playoffs and do what you want to do. But for right now, when you're down to one running back who has any experience with your offense, which unless Fournette plays on Sunday, it's what they'll be. When you're down a tight end, when you're not sure what your left tackle is, there's many offenses have been in that situation and done fine that week. But it is absolutely a situation where the offensive coordinator this week has to figure out, what can I do? What can I call? What will these guys know? So it feels to me like one of those stretches, and a lot of teams go through it, where you have to figure out a way to sort of inch by these next couple of games. It's going to feel like some pressure. It might even come down to a field goal. And figure out a way to get through this stretch and get back to being who you want to be. This is what separates good NFL teams from NFL teams that don't make it, how you manage crisis points like this.
Yeah, and Doug Marrone said yesterday that they're going to give Leonard a run on Wednesday, see how he is. They haven't ruled him out this week yet. We'll see how that goes week to week here.
I have no idea how to – I think somebody asked me yesterday, well, just give me a guess. Usually you can guess. It's been going on for a while now. I don't anticipate it to change with the hamstring injury, with what they did a couple weeks ago. I have no idea what to guess. I don't anticipate him playing. At the same time, would I be completely shocked if he's out there on Friday, dancing around and then playing on Sunday? It could happen. I'm not saying it's 50-50, but I wouldn't rule it out. And that is a difficult situation to be in, and it's very difficult to manage, and it feels like the overwhelming storyline of the first half of the season.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And the Jags did go internal today to get another tight end on the roster. David Greenidge brought up from the practice squad. Austin Seferian-Jenkins on IR. Could return, though, earliest, I think, mid-December.
I think it's the Washington game, which is December 15th-ish. I'm not sure the exact date. And that makes sense. He's a blocker type. He knows the scheme. This team is very much, if they can at all promote from within and have a guy who knows what he's doing, who knows the scheme, they're going to do that. And so that's what they did there. They chose not to do anything about left tackle. It feels to me like left tackle is a monitor situation.
Yeah.
Josh Walker played okay at that spot. Josh Wells is not out for the season. One more season ender there. Obviously, you're doing the same thing with that position that you did with running back today.
Josh, you remember a banged-up football team that you played on? Is there any one that maybe stands out with so many injuries that were expected, unexpected, things happened, changed, roster moves, all that?
I felt like every year for a couple of years.
Absolutely.
12, 13, 14-ish, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking. The difference was we weren't a contender. We weren't a team that had the potential to make the playoffs and make a run. And I remember at one point, I want to say it was 12 or 13, that we set a record for the most guys on injured reserve.
It was to the point that year, and
it was unbelievable.
I forget the detail, but there's a limit to how many guys you can have on a roster.
And then you have to start releasing players from injured reserve.
And they were close to that limit, which is tough to do. Now, IR sometimes tends to populate on bad teams quicker than it does on good teams.
It sure did with us, that's for sure.
And,
oh, my gosh.
So,
I want to say it was 12.
Yeah, that feels right.
It was Gene Smith's last year.
Yeah, that was 2012.
Well, that was
12. Yeah.
Mike Malarkey was the head coach.
Yeah, that was.
That's a year.
That was quite a year, Josh.
It was a 2-win season.
Let's tell some stories from that year.
Tell us more.
We won more games in the preseason that year than we did in the regular season.
True.
That's a good place to start.
True statement. A bunch of overtime losses that season. It was a struggle.
We went 5-13 that year, I believe.
That was 2 and 14.
No, that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I'm counting the preseason.
Oh, yeah, you need to count the preseason. That was one of those years.
You had a game-winning kick though that year, didn't you? Didn't you beat Tennessee?
In 12, no.
Did you? No. Okay.
No.
I guess I was just hoping.
No. I think it was.
We lost some games on a field goal, though. I know
we
that.
did.
The other side.
We did one of those, yes.
Oakland, we lost
3 overtime games.
Yeah, 3 overtime games. I think all of them were field goal, or two were field goals.
Let me ask you this. We just had that awesome long kick graphic before I came in.
Yeah, I know you were into that.
It was awesome. Can you send me that? So I can have it on the wall.
We'll email it to you.
You obviously had the 59-yarder against Indy. That was your longest game winner, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was the longest kick of your career.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like your longest kick was? Meaning, had it been
from the longest distance?
Yeah, I mean,
there were
some.
There were a few kicks that I hit that I knew would have been good from 15, 20 yards farther.
Gotcha.
I had one. I had a 51-yarder in 2008 against Indianapolis that I hit as pure as I could hit it, and it probably had 20 yards to spare on it.
Was that here or there?
It was there.
Okay,
so it was indoors.
Yeah.
It would have been good from 67, 68.
I remember that kick.
And I had one in Denver one time that it felt like the ball was still rising as it went over the uprights from 50.
Were there ever games or times where you thought, this is a day where I could break it?
Oh, without a doubt. And it's normally in pregame where you get that feeling, how the way you're contacting the ball, the temperature outside, the wind direction, all that. But there's days where you feel like you want that opportunity, and then there's days
10
you
or
hope
50?
you don't get that opportunity.
There's days you're ducking behind the net.
Yeah. Field goal,
are there usually 10 or 15 guys out there at any one time who could hit from 65?
Without a doubt. I would say 2/3 of the league could hit from 65 given the right conditions.
Gotcha.
All things are equal. You have a downwind kick.
Right.
Most guys can.
Gotcha.
And there's only a handful I think they couldn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The notable thing about that graphic that you loved so much that half of those kicks on that list were all at elevation in Denver.
Oh, that's a common theme.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's obviously a lot easier to kick the ball far in Denver. It travels at least 10% farther there, just depending on the wind, depending on the temperature. And there's a reason 3 of those 6 kicks were kicked in Denver. It's just much easier to kick the ball farther.
You know what the record was before Dempsey?
56.
56.
So
that's good stuff.
Who was it?
Pat Richard, I believe is his name.
Does he know this stuff?
I think that's his
alive
name.
Back then.
It's what he said. I think he played for the Bears, and I think it was in the 50s that he hit it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Tom Dempsey broke that record by 7 yards in 70.
And Dempsey's, if you saw it, only got about a foot over the goalpost the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was an absolute.
There was no chance he was making that.
It was on the goal. That was back when the uprights were on the goal line, too.
And so he hit it from the 37,
mm-hmm.
and it defied all reason. It not to compare, but it was a little like Beeman's jump in a long jump, in that it was so much further at the time than any other kick. Whereas when Elam hit his, I think Elam hit from 63.
He did.
Yep.
By that point, that was in 97, I believe, because
Mm-hmm.
I was at that game.
98.
It was against the Jags.
Mm-hmm.
By that point, you assumed it was going to get broken at some point. It was just going to be circumstance of when would a coach. I mean, that's the thing. It has to be at the end of the half.
End of the half, end of the game, last.
So there's only a limited number of opportunities to do it, and so it brings your percentages way down of it actually happening. So
Dempsey's was 7 yards longer than the record. What was the name?
Pat Richard, I believe.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt
Reynolds.
Burt
Reynolds.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds.
Unbelievable.
He was.
Yeah. There you have it. John, busy day today. We'll look for your writing on Jaguars.com.
It'll be there.
Whether we like it or
that's
not.
right, whether you like it or not.
John O's your senior writer with us on Jaguars Happy Hour. We'll come back with Social Scobee. His tweets, your tweets.
He hasn't tweeted me in a while. That's what's a little concerning.
Who, John?
Yeah, you haven't responded to any of my tweets.
I'm not playing anymore.
Huh?
You're not playing anymore.
I know, but every now and again, a like or a retweet,
If
or
it'll make you feel better,
response to
I'll tweet
something.
at you.
You know, I just want to feel liked by the organization somehow.
So do I, Josh.
The fake Tom
wait in
Coughlin,
line.
Doesn't.
That door isn't opening for me. So.
This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
When this is the sound of a crackling campfire on a cool evening, you can sit back and relax. But when it's the sound of your counters and cabinets smoking and smoldering following a house fire that's affected your entire kitchen, you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO when fire damage strikes. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Jaguars Happy Hour continues. JP Shadrick, former kicker Josh Scobee.
You pronounce my name better than I do, actually.
It's not that hard.
It's
Josh
hard.
Scobee.
I kind of have like a S speech impediment, so it's
Let's
like,
hear you say it.
I say Josh Scobee, so it's like sometimes I'll say
slurring
Scobee
altogether.
or Scobee with an H, but you say it very well. I appreciate
Josh Scobee.
There you go. It's kind of like I have a problem saying or trouble saying Arnold Palmer if I say it too fast.
It didn't sound like you did right
Arnold
there.
Palmer. Like sometimes
How many
I'll say
Arnold
like,
Palmers have you had by this point? Is the question.
The John Daly's.
John Daly's
Yeah.
where it's at. Let's get to social Scobee. Oh, first off, hold on. Timeout. Hold the phone.
What'd I do?
Love for Lily update. The touchdown total is up to 11 for this fund. Give us an update.
So that means 11 times 25 times another 25. Yeah. So after this update, so we're up another $250 for the Love for Lily campaign. And if you haven't heard about it, it's for some friends of ours whose daughter was diagnosed with cancer about 6 weeks ago now. And she just finished her second treatment of chemo.
All right.
And luckily she was healthy enough to do that. She's still dealing with a lot of issues right now, and just day after day going through the emotions and feeling good, feeling bad, feeling good, feeling bad. And, you know, it's something that we're proud to be able to donate to her family and help them out with any expenses that they need, and anything that's not used, they're going to donate to the next family after that. So if anyone wants to get involved, reach out to me on Facebook or Twitter, and I'll gladly let you help out with us. So thank you.
At Josh Scobee 10.
Yes, that's
is
it.
The and I don't know what you are on Facebook. I'm guessing
my
it's
name.
Josh
Just
Scobee.
my name.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's probably a fair bet. Let's go to social Scobee today. We'll get a few of yours. We'll get one from Graham Gano. We'll get some fan questions as well in today. How about that?
Let's do it.
Let's start off with one of yours, and this one I don't know why this one just cracked me up. You go to a fancy steakhouse for dinner. You order too much amazing food, to-go boxes for leftovers, but you leave it on the floor every damn time. What in the world, Josh?
I'm very bad about leaving the to-go food at the restaurant. I don't know why. I don't get it. I like to finish all my dinner, and whenever I tweeted this, a lot of people were busting me saying, you know, why don't you just finish your dinner? Then you won't have to deal with it.
That's an excellent point, actually.
Or put the box on the table.
Or that.
I mean, I feel like it's rude to set your giant bag on the table, but
is it? It's your food.
Apparently, I need to start doing that because I wasted a good steak, some lobster, and some mashed potatoes, and hopefully the kitchen staff or the wait staff actually took that home.
Hold on. So wait a minute.
It was phenomenal.
Hold on. So you had you took lobster to go?
I know. Well, we
you just
filled
eat the
up.
lobster. It's one tail of lobster.
I mean, you ever go to these restaurants? You're so hungry, like you like purge throughout the day just to be ready for these meals. That's what I did that day. So I was excited, but then we filled up on all appetizers and bread and all that, and then
the rookie mistake.
Oh, but I've done it so many times. I should know better.
You should know better by now. I had to call you out on that one. This next one's from Graham Gano. We mentioned, of course, a couple of times that he hit the 63-yarder this week to knock off the Giants and win it for the Panthers. And he put out a photo of the game-winning football on a tee that's signed by Tom Dempsey. How about that?
That's pretty cool. That guaranteed Tom Dempsey didn't use that tee, though. That tee is for, like, middle schoolers. But the ball, I commented on this to Graham. That ball is an absolute peach. I mean, it's broken in perfectly. And that's
how do you know?
So, I mean, if you zoom in on it, you can see the laces on it have this dark black line. And it doesn't have the dimples that this ball has on it. So typically a brand new football, NFL ball, has a lot of dimples, which means it's harder. It's not broken in. The leather hasn't been broken in yet. It's kind of like a baseball glove. You get a brand new one. It takes time to work it in to where you can actually move it around. And that ball has been broken in quite a bit that Graham kicked. And obviously his ball boys do a fantastic – look at this. I can't even get the ball. His ball boys did a fantastic job of breaking that in, and a broken in ball goes a lot further. So that was pretty cool. That was the first thing I noticed. That's what kickers do.
Right. So would you use the same ball week over week?
Oh, no, I wish. But no, that is not the rule.
You can't do that.
The kicking balls in the NFL, 6 of them get sent to the hotel of the referees.
Got it.
They bring them to the game, and each team gets 3 balls to break in 45 minutes. They get to rub them with a brush and break them in as much as they can, and then they start out with the ball number 1. They use that. If each team likes it, they keep it in. If they don't, they go to ball number 2, and so on and so forth.
How about that?
It's very boring, but that's what we had to deal with. Some days it was a battle just to get the ball boy to put the right ball in, or the ball man. It was typically an adult. So,
are any of these ball men still on the staff?
They're both still there.
Oh, really?
I used to bribe them, and luckily they always accepted the bribes. So
we will. We'll have to get to the bottom of this with Jimmy Luck
I
tomorrow.
never paid out.
Program.
I just bribed them. I never paid out anything. So.
Well, they know where you are.
There's
now,
no paper
each
trail.
and every Tuesday. There might be a gentleman waiting for you out here one day. Get ready.
I'm retired, so they can't get me anymore.
That's what you
It's just
think.
like the drug tester guy that sent me an email a while back about making sure my information was up to date. I'm like, buddy, I'm retired. You don't have to test me anymore.
Let's move along,
shall
we? Last
said
night,
too much.
Monday Night Football in the Superdome, New Orleans. Drew Brees gets the passing yardage record, and you said it's sure nice of the ref to hand him a laminated piece of paper like he graduated kindergarten.
I mean, I'm sure I was not the only one to notice this, but as he breaks the record, one referee walks over to him, hands him like a piece of paper like this, basically, and you could kind of zoom in on it and see that it said NFL record most passing yards and whatnot. But you could tell it was, laminated and fancy. But where did that come from? Did the refs?
Did he have it in his pants the whole game, or what happened?
And what blows my mind is that they would hand him that. He had no idea what to do with it. He took it over to his family, and once he's done with them, he's like, oh, here, someone take this piece of paper. And the funny part is the ref hands him that, and then they still flag him for excessive celebration.
So the penalty in the game book is on the receiver. And he dropped the ball in the end zone unless he did something off camera that was explicit or something. I mean, they stopped the game to celebrate.
Welcome to the NFL, where you celebrate someone doing something and then flag him at the same time. And then make him kick it off. And then you penalize the kicker. That's who you penalize.
That's what it's all about at the end of it.
It's all about the kicker.
All those kickers.
But I
Jeez.
thought that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Do you have much
Amazing.
interaction with Drew Brees?
Yeah, he's I've known him for a long time. Really good dude. He used to run a golf tournament that I'd play in every year, and he's no longer the host of it, but really good dude and loves golf, so that's why we get along.
Great football player too. Great quarterback.
Decent quarterback, I would say.
I think
decent.
he's gonna make it one of these days.
Underrated. I mean, without a doubt, underrated quarterback. And I think it has to do with his height. Like people say, yeah, he's barely 6 feet tall. So I think he's underrated in those terms. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's still underrated.
When you're throwing for 76% or whatever he's throwing for this year,
That's pretty good.
I mean, come on, I
Pretty
forget
good.
the official statistic on that. By the way, there was an article out. Staying on this topic for just a moment, we'll move on to more social questions in a moment. When Nick Saban was at Miami with the Dolphins, wanted Drew Brees, failed the physical because of the arm issue. How that would have changed both maybe the NFL history and college football history.
Absolutely.
Could that have switched both things? What would have happened?
Well, you can blame the doctors or the orthopedists on that one, because that's a huge game changer. If he stays there, Nick Saban probably stays with Miami for a long, long time and doesn't go to Alabama. They don't have 15 national championships in the past 15 years.
Right.
So, yeah, it's amazing how fate happens and things happen for a reason. So I'm glad he went to New Orleans, because they needed him to come there, and the resurgence after Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was a big deal.
Huge.
And things happen for a reason. That's what I tell people. They just happen for a reason.
Let's get to a social Scobee question. This from Jeffy Jeffers 2.
Jeffy Jeffers
At Jeffy Jeffers 2. Why was Telvin Smith laughing so much last Wednesday? Now, if you missed the press conference last Wednesday, they asked Telvin. He had a big wide smile on his face. He's excited. We'll tell you after the game. He was excited about the defense and the matchup last week. Obviously, it didn't go as well as the Jags anticipated. So
yeah, you could kind of see from the writing on Telvin's face that he kind of felt like they had a beat on the Chiefs' offense and maybe on Patrick Mahomes, and he said something about ask me about this after the game on Sunday and whatnot, and obviously the game did not go as well as they wanted. They didn't win, so when he was asked about it, he didn't divulge anything about it. But that's kind of what I got from it, that they were trying not to say so much. They were trying to be a little bit more humble going into the game and not get into it too much.
That's depending on who you were asking.
Yes,
maybe, in that
Telvin was.
Yes,
so,
Telvin.
I'm sure he was very optimistic about it and hoping that he could tell that story on Sunday, but unfortunately didn't get to it.
How are you on the whole talking thing? Is this team talking a little much? Are they talking? Is this what they do? Is this their personality? Is it okay? Where were you on the trash talking thing?
I like it, and at times I don't. I mean, it just the same thing as when I was playing. Watching guys talk trash, and it's fun to watch them do it whenever everything is going well. But as soon as you start losing a game, you give up a big play, it's going to come back to bite you. And people don't forget, because social media now, people do not let you forget about anything. And every big play or even decent play that Tyreek Hill had, the fans were letting Jalen know about it. And just like with the defense, any big play that the offense made for the Chiefs, the fans were letting them know about it. And you could kind of see that. And that's why it was a frustrating game to watch, because you knew that all the trash talk had gone into it, and it didn't come out the Jaguars' way.
Let's finish with this question today from at Gunarvin. At Gunarvin?
It's silent G. It's just Narvin.
At Narvin.
I don't know.
It's not really a question. It's a comment. Josh and Josh weekly video segment on the .com. Do it. At Josh Scobee and at Josh Lambo. That was a hit last week.
That was, apparently. I would say, yeah, that'd be great, but I don't want to mess up anything that he is doing right now, because he's kicking really well, and I'm not one that believes in jinxes or any type of superstition or whatnot, but I'm not going to mess with him. He's doing really well, and I want him to continue doing well, because he's a vital part of the team.
You know what, though? your record is still intact.
Hopefully it gets broken.
I hope so, too.
Yeah.
He didn't have an opportunity last week to
He
kick
didn't.
another field goal to make the consecutive field goal streak. Add to the list of already you and
Mike
Hollis that have 20 consecutive.
Correct.
Lambeau's at 19 currently.
Yeah, he'll get good conditions this Sunday in Dallas, that's for sure. The weather's supposed to be kind of bad, so they should have the windows closed or the roof or whatever they have there.
They got it all, I think.
Yeah, so he'll have good conditions to kick. So hopefully they score a lot of touchdowns, but maybe he sprinkles in 2 field goals and breaks the record.
What's the prediction for Sunday?
I think it's going to be the type of game that both the offense and the defense are pretty angry right now.
Yeah, they are.
We call it in the golfing business or golfing world red butt. I'll just put it that way. And
right.
they're pretty angry right now. So I think it's going to be quite a bit to maybe a medium amount. So probably I'd say like 34-13 would be my guess.
34-13 Jaguars.
Yep.
They always seem to bounce back from
they have every
subpar outing.
Yeah. It seems like every game this year and the start of last year was the same thing. So for the people that are kind of up in arms about this last game, we're still 3-2. We're still right there. And this is how the season started last year. And let's just take it week by week and see what happens from there.
Manage everything that's going on right now, and that's what happens in NFL seasons. Josh, well done. Good to see you, and have a good week, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy Dallas.
Looking forward to it. Hopefully we fly over the hurricane whenever.
Yeah.
So everyone stays safe. This area we should be okay, but Panhandle, Tallahassee area could be tough, so everybody stay safe.
Tough couple days ahead over in the Panhandle. Our thanks to our entire crew. For Josh Scobee, I'm JP Shadrick. We'll see you next time. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.